Hey everyone, it's Dawn. I am once again coming to you from the bathroom. I've instructed the children that I'm recording, and hopefully we will get through this without any interruptions. So, I just wanted to come and talk with you guys about a little post Easter thought that I've been having. This year, obviously, Easter was a little different. And one thing that our family did that was different is we actually focused on Easter Saturday. There's a lot of attention that gets paid to Good Friday, right? There's a name for Good Friday. And then there's Easter Sunday. And I'm sure there is some official religious name for Saturday, but nobody ever talks about Saturday. And I think there's a reason. Saturday's the worst. The Saturday between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, like, we just don't want to think about that. We want to pretend like that Saturday never existed because as I was talking about with my kids, I said, like, what do you think it felt like to be one of Jesus's followers on Saturday? To which Ruby immediately replied, there was Instagram back then? And I was like, no. Like, people who actually followed Jesus. different type of followers. These people had given up everything. They'd given up their families. They'd given up their jobs. They placed their hope in the fact that Jesus was who he said he was, or was going to do something big, even though they didn't quite know what that was. Like, they didn't understand what he was doing. They didn't know what he was talking about, but something about him and the message that he gave led all of these people to leave everything and follow him. And the interesting thing is that most of those people, are you kidding me? Ruby, get out. All of those people, just give me a minute to regroup here, were pretty ordinary people. And yet they had this sense that something bigger than them was calling them, that they could be a part of something more extraordinary than they felt. And I think many of us feel that same way, right? We feel pretty ordinary. I'm giving you a devotional from a bathroom, so that's pretty ordinary, but some of us dare to believe that we are called to be a part of something bigger than our ordinary selves. And it was this hope that led them to kind of follow after Jesus, even though they didn't quite fully grasp what he was doing all of the time. And then on Friday, they watched kind of all of their hopes fall apart. They watched all of the things that they thought were going to happen come crashing down. They saw the person that they had placed their hopes in be murdered, essentially. Not essentially, actually, right? And they went to bed that night. And then they woke up on Saturday and they woke up to this new reality. And I think many of us who have gone through horrible experiences in our lives know what it feels like to go to sleep the night of the horrible thing and then wake up the next morning and you have that brief moment of being like unaware of what happened, and then the reality comes crashing back in and you're like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. And so they spent all of Saturday with their broken hopes, with their crashed realities. And we don't like to think about that because we often want a faith in a God who has quick fixes and easy answers, right? Like that vending machine God that we just, put in our quarter and turn the little thing, and a surprise, but something good no matter what, it's going to come out the little slot at the bottom, right? We don't like a God. We don't like to think about a God that keeps us in the waiting, right? Where we put the quarter in and we turn the knob and nothing happens, right? We don't want to think about a God that does things like that. We don't want to think about a God who promises Abraham and Sarah a child and then makes them wait 90 years. Whether that's hyperbole or not, I don't know. But we can assume it was a really long time, right? We don't like to think about a God that promises Abraham and Sarah a child and then 90 years later he finally delivers on that promise. But that's what Saturday, sandwiched between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, reminds us of. And frankly, it's a reality that we're living right now. It's a reality of waiting in a space where we don't know the outcome. And most of us, myself included, feel really uncomfortable in that Saturday space. See, on Saturday, they couldn't have dreamed what Sunday was going to bring. They had no idea how the story was going to turn out. They just knew that everything that they had thought that they knew was now gone. So what do we do when we find ourselves in those Saturday spaces? I find it so funny when I think back to January when we did our Word of the Year podcast, and I shared that my word of the year was hope. And I just find myself coming back to this word over and over and over again. Because frankly, what we can do in the Saturday space is hope. We can hope in what we know to be true about how God has operated in our lives before. I think somebody else is coming into the bathroom. Maybe not. Anyways, we can hope in how God has behaved in our life up until this point. We can hope in the stories of people around us who have seen God act in their lives. And hope is simply having a faith in something that we can't be certain of, right? And while that might seem really mystical and, fluffy and uncertain, we actually do it all the time. We hope in things all the time. We go to bed, at night, and we hope, we expect that we're going to wake up in the morning. We sit in the midst of quarantine and we hope, even though that we don't know exactly what's going to happen, that someday we're going to come out of this. We hope in things all the time. And so it's no more ridiculous to hope in something larger than ourselves, to hope in the divine, that there is a good thing that is happening in our lives as a whole, that the arc of the universe bends towards justice, bends towards goodness. It's not foolish to hope in that. And I frankly think that that hope is what we need to cling to right now as we all sit in this Saturday space. We don't know what Sunday is going to bring, right? The disciples didn't know what Easter Sunday was going to bring, and we don't know what that Sunday is going to look like in our own lives. But we can choose to hope that all hope is not lost. We can choose to hope that there is more to our story. We can choose to hope that God will continue to do good things in our lives. And when we lose that hope, when that hope feels uncertain, we can cling to the hope of others in this uncommon community, because that's the other thing that community does for us, is sometimes when we lose faith, sometimes when we lose hope, it's those people around us that hold our faith for us. They hold our hope for us. So if you're in that space of feeling hopeless, reach out to us and let us know, and we will hold on to hope for you in the midst of whatever it is that you're walking through. We love you guys. We can't wait to see you face to face again soon. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.